Mechanicsville Building Supply, the first year was owned by a Meredith Lumber Company. It was in 1929. Okay, Mr. Chesley worked for Mr. Meredith until 1936. A good year, because that's the year I was born. He worked the yard in the old Mechanicsville over on Old 5 from 1936 till 1954. He had the lumber yard, and Mr. Roach, Dr. Roach's father, had a bar across the road. Now, you notice I didn't say street. There's no streets in Mechanicsville. Okay, in 1954, they came over here. They built this store. I was in and out. I graduated from high school in '54, and at one juncture, I said to Mr. Roach, I was through the service, I was through school, and I was sort of looking for something to do. So lo and behold, in about 3 months, he called me and he said, Mr. Groom is leaving. Mr. Groom, there was Mr. Roach, Mr. Chesley, and Mr. Bill Groom. Mr. Groom had a 15% interest in the business. Okay, I came over, I made a deal with him. Being frugal, I asked Mr. Groom if he wanted money or if he wanted to finance it, and he said, I'd rather have cash. So we settled that real quick. Roach says, okay, Hill, I want you to take care of the paint and the glass. So we worked like this until, this was '64. '69, Mr. Roach passed away. With that, Mr. Chesley and I purchased Mr. Roach's portion of the business, which left Mr. Chesley with 66 2/3 and me 33 1/3. Fast forward to 1985, Mr. Chesley passed away. I bought his portion of the business from his family. With that, the family gave me a 5-year lease on this property. Okay, fast forward, 5 years is up. They wanted me to take a 20-year lease. They said, we're going to make you a deal. We're going to give you a 20-year lease on this property. I said, well, I appreciate it, but I'd be more interested in purchasing the property. At that juncture, they said they were not interested. So then they came to me and said, well, what are you going to do? Well, I happen to have a piece of commercial property north of here. I said, well, I guess I'll have to go build my own store, which I really didn't want to do that. They were, I think, a little bit afraid that they would have a white elephant. So we made the deal. So since then, it's been me for the last 25 or 30 years. And that's where it started, and that's where it is up till today, 2020. The family was involved to a certain point. When I had two partners, my kids were in school, and so they really got involved after I had a bad accident and lost my right leg. And at that juncture, the store would have been closed if they hadn't jumped in here with both feet. I credit mostly my son, Chris, because he was here once, and he didn't spend much time here before, but once the accident happened, he jumped in with both feet. And then I had great support with all of my operations and my doctor's visits. They were in Baltimore, and the whole family just pitched in, and I couldn't say enough. Well, I tell you, we have never been overly aggressive. However, we've grown about the rate of inflation, I would say. Before We did more in the yard when we had, before we had the big boxes. The big boxes came, we held our own. We took care of our customers. We didn't pride ourselves on too much expansion. We just did, we took what we, you know, what we could, and we took care of them, and we didn't worry about our competition. In fact, I made a point, I made a question, or in fact, I made a statement. I don't care if 84 goes across the street, it doesn't bother me. We got our regular customers, we got in-house accounts, they're loyal, and we treat them with kid gloves. We actually, we spoon feed them, you know? And that's been our forte, and that's the reason why we're still here. Tell you what, it's a little old country town. In fact, I want to show you. In fact, this was Mechanicsville. This was Meredith Lumber Company, and the phone number was 27. My phone number at home was 12. Then Mechanicsville grew. Mechanicsville, it was the end of the railroad. The railroad stopped here. That's where Meredith did their business from the railway. That is, and we've always been fortunate enough to have 2 doctors' offices, and it's just been a quaint little town, and it's been good to everybody. Everybody here is, you know, we had a nice doctor, and we had. Actually, we had 2 doctors, Dr. Gwyther and Dr. Berube, and they all passed. And then Dr. Roach, whose father was in here with me, he has since retired, and you know, he's in here about every other day. So I mean, that's Mechanicsville, the best I can, you know.
That's great.
I had mixed emotions, and I still have mixed emotions, because our customers are all so comfortable with us, and we're comfortable with them, and I feel like I'm letting some people down, but everyone I've talked to said, you know, I really understand. You know, it's time, you know.
Yeah.
So that's.
Are you excited for?
At first I had reservations, but you know, I think they're going to do well. I really do. There's so much excitement since the Carroll's is no longer John Deere, and I've got people saying, you know, well, I could bring my equipment here to get it serviced. You know, I don't have to travel all the way. We're central. We're between 3 counties, and I think it's probably the reason they chose us.
So, now, what are your plans in the future? So you're retiring?
My
now?
plans, well, for the first month, I'm gonna go crazy. Then after that, I think I'm gonna come in here a little bit. They want me to come in a little bit when they open to talk to, you know, view some of the local people. And I think I'm gonna do that. And one thing I would really like to do, and I don't know if it's gonna happen, I'd like to go down in February to the Nationals spring training in Florida. And I really am thinking about that. Somebody put that in my mind, and that's one thing I would really like to do. I've been able to educate my kids, to set them up in some businesses. The thing that is the most satisfying, I have 4 grandsons, and I was able to do a prepaid college trust, a 4-year prepaid college trust for all 4 of my grandsons. If it hadn't been for this business, I wouldn't have been able to do it. And that's the most satisfying thing, other than my family. Well, they are my family. I would say be honest, be sincere, work hard, treat the people with respect, with compassion, and carry on the way we did. In fact, part of our customers are almost family. I mean, they're all friends. And so, you know, that's the thing. Just keep the community atmosphere, the country atmosphere, and you'll find they'll be in, and they will appreciate it, you know.